when we feel, stressed out, it can really affect our skin and body. And so I wanted to talk about some of those things. It causes a chemical response in your body that makes the skin sensitive. It can also make it more reactive. And it can cause the body to make a hormone called cortisol, which results in an oilier skin, typically, and also can result in acne. And anxiety associated with stress can cause other skin problems that are present at the moment that are already there, to flare up, such as like dermatitis or eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, acne. And along with that, some of that stress, some people tend to pick at their skin, and that can even, that can cause even more problems. So, when we feel like we're no longer safe or in control, the skin responds. So the way to manage that is, anxiety management. And that's really the key to better you overall and really ultimately your skin. And so what are some of these ways that we can really manage our stress? Well, really taking good care of you, really listening to what your body tells you. Your body's telling you exactly what it needs. So for example, when we're exhausted or tired, it's time to rest, taking naps or a long bath with a relaxing bath bomb, and to really exercise regularly, staying active, getting outside and in nature, but when we're outside enjoying nature, just please be mindful, of course, of our social distancing, be safe, eat a healthy, balanced diet full of many fruits and vegetables, stay away from alcohol and sugars. Sometimes it's fun, right? But not all the time, not every day. Read more good books and wake up in the morning and journaling about the people and the things in our life that we're really grateful for. And most importantly, don't forget to drink tons of water, and then a minimum of 2 liters a day. That's to really maintain a healthy internal balance and healthy skin. Practicing good hygiene, taking really good care of your skin, creating more time in your daily routine to implement a good, simple, consistent regime. I mean, really, ultimately, it should really only take you 3 to 5 minutes a day, and maybe on a weekly basis, maybe 20 minutes once or twice a week. And that's pretty much all it takes. And I stress this word consistency because without it, it's really difficult to really maintain more normal, healthy skin. And we don't have to really use, 7 to 10 different, concoctions or potions to accomplish this. About 3 to 5 products that you consistently use is enough to achieve your skin health goals. And then I get asked a lot about, from our guests, which order do I apply my products in? And I kind of explain it this way. Cleansing is always the first step. And really take your time. You don't have to just slap it on and rinse it right off. Cleanse for a minimum of 2 minutes. And then, when I mentioned this last week, 2 minutes, I probably raised an eyebrow like, oh, wow, 2 minutes. How am I going to spend 2 minutes cleansing my skin? Well, when you're sitting there, using your cleanser, it probably seems like, oh boy, this is probably long enough, and it's probably been like 15 seconds. So really 2 minutes, as we're told, brushing our teeth for 2 minutes. And sometimes when we really pay attention, we're like, wow, 2 minutes can take a long time. But you don't have to just sit there massaging and massaging and massaging your skin. You can definitely do a double cleanse. And it's what we do in the spa a lot. You'll notice if you come in for a facial, we start out our facials double cleansing. We cleanse to remove the makeup and impurities that are on the skin first, and then we go in with a second cleanse. And you can really mimic that at home. You always have to have 2 separate cleansers, but you can have one cleanser and still do 2 separate cleanses. Cleanse once for a minute, take it off, cleanse again. So you really thoroughly are removing the oils from the skin and really prepping and priming for your next steps. And then the next step is toning, which is a step a lot of folks don't use. I find guests come in and they say, I don't use a toner because I don't know why. And I really don't know what's the purpose. It's the skin to accept the treatments that follow, improves your moisture absorption, and balances the skin's pH level. And then following with toner, you do a treatment or like a serum. Serums can provide your nutritional support. They are your skin's vitamin supplement, basically. And they really treat something that is specific, a corrector, if you will. They can come in different forms. They can come in water-based serums, sometimes they're oil serums or spot treatments. And then, of course, next to moisturize. Use one that fits your skin type and or condition, and you may find switching the moisturizer according to weather climate conditions allows the skin to function more properly. And of course, oily skin should use moisturizer as well. Preferably oil-free, hydrating moisturizer to maintain more of a proper balance of your skin and protect the barrier function. Even oily skin needs to be hydrated. And of course, the last step in a daily routine is SPF. That's your must. It's crucial to protecting the skin from premature signs of aging, and a minimum of a 30 on a daily use and a 50 when spending longer periods of time in the sun, always reapplying every couple of hours and anytime you get wet. Once or twice a week, give yourself a mini facial at home. You can exfoliate. That helps to reveal softer, smoother, brighter, and clearer skin too. As time goes on, our skin cells are migrating to the surface of the skin, and then so those accumulate and pile up on top of each other and create this horn layer. That stratum corneum layer is our dead skin layer. If we're not exfoliating, we are building up a barrier that when we're using all of the beautiful products that we accumulate at home, they're not penetrating or function they should. That's another thing I think I find when guests come in. I ask, "What's your routine? Tell me what you use." And some folks are using their daily routine, but they're not really treating, and they're not doing a weekly routine. So I always try to stress, exfoliation is so important because that stimulates the cellular renewal process, the skin, so that your products, your treatments, like your serums and your moisturizers, are actually penetrating effectively. So that's really important. And you can use masks to, treat specific things happening, on the skin that you want to specifically address. You can use masks in many different ways. They can be used as a 10 to 15 minute treatment. They can be sometimes used as overnight treatments, or they can be used as spot treatments as well. And treating different areas using 2 different masks or 3 different masks, if you will, if you must, to really treat areas of combination skin too. But ultimately, what it really comes down to is a healthy and a balanced lifestyle. Combining healthy living with a very consistent skincare regime is the path to really great skin, because our skin is like a roadmap to what's happening inside. So if there's things going on that are out of balance on the skin, and you have either mild or severe conditions happening, always take a look inside, because there's something happening internally that's affecting what's happening on the outside. So really maintaining a healthy lifestyle is the balance that we look for. It goes hand in hand, that internal care with the external care. So there are a few ingredients that I look for and I really enjoy in my skincare products and wanted to let you know about. They're also found in foods too, that you can get in your healthy lifestyle by eating these foods high in these nutrients as well too. Some, of course, aren't always used in foods, but the ones I'm mentioning typically are. So all of these ingredients have benefits for helping to reduce some puffiness, maybe some inflammation associated with stress, as well as other skin health benefits too. So one of them is vitamin K. There's a lot of vitamin K sourced in green leafy vegetables, such as your veggies like kale and spinach and collard greens and parsley, romaine, broccoli, etc. So also vitamin K helps to heal bruises. It controls blood clotting. So it can also help with stretch marks, spider veins as well. If you have, any want to address some of those issues with body care, vitamin K can be a very good ingredient to search for in those types of products. And then green tea. Green tea contains tannins. It's an astringent that tightens, it shrinks, and it contracts the skin. It's also an antioxidant. It's full of antioxidant nutrition too as well. And you can use cooled tea bags as a way to reduce swelling and inflammation, and use them as sort of like a poultice, if you will, and really help to compress the skin and tighten and tone and help to reduce inflammation and swelling. Coffee or caffeine. This is actually very calming to the skin. It's an anti-aging ingredient. It also helps to reduce cellulite and inflammation and dark circles. It's a source of vitamin B3 and other really important nutrients, plus antioxidants, including polyphenols that are a really good source of protection for the skin. You can also use the coffee ground exfoliator, which is kind of fun to do. Something that you can pull out of your kitchen that you can turn into a skincare product. It also is great to freeze, coffee that is already made, of course. Freeze it, make it into ice cubes. You can use those as, massage tools for the face for toning and tightening. That can be really fun to try at home as well. Of course, when you source organic coffee, that's where you find the highest amount of those nutrients in that product. This is something I always preach quite a bit in the treatment room. It's a superhero ingredient for achieving really hydrated, not only in an antioxidant, but it's one of the best ones to reduce oxidative stress from the sun. It brightens hyperpigmentation, and it's also a collagen precursor, resulting in a more tighter, more firmer skin. It really tightens, it really firms, it gets the collagen process stimulated. So let's talk about some more specific I really love that can target and help targeting and hydrating, your skin at this time. And, if you're feeling, stressed out of the skin, is feeling vitalizing, and you just need a pick me up. These are some of my faves that we have on our online website, and so going to be able to find them, I believe, dream out some more information on these products afterwards too. So the first one I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to show you how to apply these products a little more fun so you can see exactly, is Ocean Cleansing Milk made from Osya. Osya is a secondary line that we use in treatment, and we also retail this product line. It's wonderful. It's all natural, 100% naturally derived. It has fresh organic seaweeds, or algae, I should say, from Patagonia in South America. And the cleansing milk is like a calming cream cleanser. The algae are really their star or their key ingredients because they're full of nutrition, hydrators, antioxidants. Some even have exfoliating properties. It really balances and really brings the skin to a healthier state, preserves and protects. That area of the world is really clean. There's no industry to pollute, the water's colder, so the plant life really retains an abundance of nutrition. So I'm just gonna start removing my eye makeup. This is a multi-action cleanser, actually. It melts away the makeup and environmental debris. It's fragrance-free. It's great for dry, dehydrated, or even sensitive or red skin. So what you can do is you can simply, two ways that you can remove your eye makeup with it because it's so gentle. If you're going to remove makeup, it's better to use a creamy cleanser or an oil-based cleanser to really thoroughly break it down and get it removed. You can take a cotton pad. Like, I would dampen the cotton pad first. Put some water there, and then I will pump my cleanser onto the cotton pad, and then I just gently sweep it across my eyes. And I like the cotton, can really thoroughly remove everything, especially if I have mascara or eyeliner on. This is great. You guys are going to really see everything underneath my makeup. And it really removes it nice and gentle and thoroughly, and it doesn't sting. This contains some beautiful ingredients. It does have red algae that really hydrates, promotes youthful skin. It has cassie flower. It's light, emollient effect. It also contains some amino acids or proteins that reduce signs of aging, and water lily that's really soothing and calming. So once I've removed my eye makeup, I dampen my skin, or if you really have if you're wearing a thick layer of makeup, you can literally, on dry skin, apply it first, a pump or two of the cleanser to dry skin, and that will break through your makeup much easier. Or apply it to damp skin if you're already somewhat clean skin surface. And when I cleanse, I'm always cleansing, moving up and out, because that way I'm following my lymphatic system and helping to move fluids that might be bogged up in the lymphatic, but then moving down. So once you move up and out to the hairline, come down, but I always come up in the center of the neck. You can probably see why, because I got some crepiness. Once I've worked it in, I can use water and then continue cleansing. And this will also sort of create a sweeping effect. I always like to cup and move my hands up, like massaging my neck, because I have, I'm not self-conscious about my thin skin and crepey. It's hereditary in my family. But moving in circular motions, moving upwards towards the hairline. Work your cleansers on the nose. I notice sometimes makeup gets stuck. It gets pieces of the nose. Also, here at the bridge of the nose, it's easy to miss. I'm going to wet my hands again because I'm not at a sink. Taking about a minute to do this, I will remove it and then into a second cleanse. Moving around the eyes. One thing I love to do is use the heel of my hand and massage my forehead. So any horizontal lines that are there. You can also do that at the zygomatic arch of the cheeks. just nice and light. It doesn't have to be too heavy, but it feels really good to loosen up the tension in the muscles in the face like that with the heel of your hand. And move this cleanser and move on to the next cleanser. With a damp face towel or washcloth. Honestly, I have to admit that I don't use a lot of splashing tap water unless I'm in the shower, of course. Tap water is, especially, well, if it's really, really hot, can be really drying for the skin. And so I like to use damp towels or face cloths instead. That way, I'm not stripping my skin with the harsh tap water. Of course, at my house, there's no water softener system yet. So that can be helpful if you have one of those. Okay. So my skin is still damp. I'm going to go in for a second cleanse. What I'm going to use, actually, I'm going to show you Osya's Ocean Cleansing Mud. You can also use our Milk and Honey Gel Cleanser as well. Both products are fantastic. Our gel cleanser is full of apple amino acids as a natural foaming agent. It doesn't strip the skin's barrier. It has fatty acids, that linoleic acid that helps to eliminate dull skin, doesn't dry, and then lemon peel oil, which is a great astringent. It's a great essential oil that it removes excess oil, but it doesn't, dry the skin. So that's an option. You can also utilize any kind of foaming gel cleanser to use as a second cleanse. They're usually typically somewhat more of like a treatment cleanser. The Ocean Cleansing Mud is pretty cool. This is a really unique cleanser. It's an invigorating cleanse. I'm going to put a small amount in my hand and then apply it to damp skin. And it gets very tingly. And it's got peppermint essential oil. It has tea tree. There's also antioxidants, B vitamins, brown seaweed, and then also jojoba oil. Really great nutritional ingredients in this cleanse, and it gets tingly. It is really quite invigorating. This is probably better for your oily skin types and acneic and even inflamed skin. Really great for washing away deep rooted. And so this is really a really invigorating cleanser. It'll get you going. As far as like really circulating blood flow and microcirculation in the skin. So that's something I really like. Actually, I use this quite a bit. Actually, I don't even use it on myself because I tend to have a little bit somewhat drier or dehydrated skin. I'll use it on my boyfriend, actually. I'll give him facials, and I love it for men. It's a wonderful cleanser for men. And they get, a lot more buildup of oil and embedded debris inside of their follicles. So that tends to be a really great cleanser for male skin too. Okay. Also, if there's acne on the back or the chest, this is a really great cleanser for that as well. By the time you've done, 2 cleanses, 2 minutes usually has typically gone by. So this is a really good time to start the rest of your skincare routine. But, you'll get a full 2 minutes if you do a double cleanse. And I was kind of asked that question last time we did this. It was, how do I get 2 minutes in my cleansing? And you don't have to have 2 different cleansers, as I mentioned. You can have 1 cleanse and still double cleanse. A good multitasking cleanser that you can remove your makeup with, but also one that you can use as a general all-purpose cleanser. Okay, so I'm going to remove this one. And then I'm going to move into my toner step, which I love toners because they improve moisture absorption. They also help to remove excess debris that may have been missed, especially after you do an exfoliator or a mask. I love the Milk and Honey's Hydrating Rose Mist. This one's beautiful. It has aloe leaf juice. It has, it's packed with antioxidants, vitamin C, vitamin E. It has rose distillate and also hyaluronic acid. The rose is really soothing and hydrating, and the hyaluronic acid, of course, is a molecule that holds 1,000 times its weight in water. It's extremely high. It also plumps the skin, but it retains the water. It pools it at the surface. How I love to use toners are 3 different main ways. You can simply and then I will press it in. Anytime I put anything on the skin that stays on the skin, I like to press it in. Another way to do it is simply use cotton pads. spray it directly on your cotton pad. Provides a little bit more of a deeper cleansing effect. So removing makeup, anything left over, that cleanser that may have been missed. It's a great way to really get a deeper cleanse. My favorite way, though, to apply toner, and this is how I usually typically do it at home, is I spray it directly into my hand. And actually, 2 squirts, I'm actually getting less product, more of it into my skin. And this is the best way for me to get a really good hydrated toning effect. Okay. So now I'm ready to skin, and I want to show you exfoliation. This would be more of your weekly. The cleanse and the tone is great for daily, and anytime you're going to perform an exfoliating or a mask. I'm going to actually show you 2 products. I'm going to do the vitamin C probiotic polish, as well as our exfoliating enzyme, Osya, and this is when the exfoliating enzyme mask is made from milk meat. The vitamin C probiotic polish from Osya is fantastic. This is a really awesome product. It's got ascorbic acid vitamin C. This is a potent antioxidant that brightens the skin and gives a more even to your skin tone. There's also bamboo stem extract that's a super fine mineral rich powder. It gently exfoliates and softens with rice powder. And this will gently exfoliate and while minimizing the appearance of your impurities with probiotics that are very balanced to the skin's flora. So about 3/4 of a teaspoon is pretty much enough. So it's a dry powder. See that, I don't want to tip it too much, it doesn't spill out. So I'm going to take a little spatula and I'm just going to kind of eye it, about 3 spoons. I'm going to apply that directly into my hand. Be careful, do not get this wet, stable. So getting it wet can deactivate it or decrease the strength of the product. And plus, it can mess up the consistency. So after use, just close it and keep it away from moisture. Store it in a dry climate. And now I'm going to take the enzyme mask. I'm just going to take a small amount, probably about same equal amount, about 3/4 of a teaspoon. You can also add a cleanser to this too. Like if you really wanted to get a lot of foaming action from it, like I could add my gel cleanser. I could add the Osya gel ocean cleanser to it. That's another version of a gel cleanser. I'll just do it just for fun. I'm just going to put a pump of that in there. And then I'm just going to massage it into my hand. You can just use water. If you don't have the enzyme mask, if you don't have the cleanser, you can add just water to your exfoliator, vitamin C probiotic polish. So when I'm exfoliating, you can also step into the shower or use your shower for steam, because in this enzyme mask, which has mandelic acid, it has alpha hydroxy acid, mandelic derived from bitter almonds. It also has bromelain, an enzyme from pineapples, and also prickly pear leaf, packed full of vitamins E, C, and K, and fat acids. Also a natural glycolic from sugar cane. So when I use enzymes, I typically like to use steam with it because enzymes love steam. Enzymes are activated by the steam, and so it could increase the exfoliating effect when used with steam if the skin can tolerate it. If you're sensitive, you get inflamed really easy or reddened really easy, I'm going to add some water to this too. It's actually something you can omit. You don't have to use steam with the enzyme. But at home, when you're doing it at home, you can actually get the steam from your shower. Close the door, shower running hot, and steam up the room. And if you're lucky and have a steam shower in your house, that's even bathroom. You're going to massage this in for just like a minute or two, but you can also then leave it to sit. You don't have to remove it right away. If you're not sensitive, you can leave it to sit for several more minutes so that the chemical component of the AHAs, the alpha hydroxys, and the enzymes exfoliate even deeper. Remember, to exfoliate in those areas with the scrub, in those areas where you find you build up easier, tends to be around the jawline and the chin, around the labia folds, around the creases of the nose, on top of the bridge of the nose, Those are really easily that T-zone area, that because our oil glands are more active, they're more productive in those areas. So really work it to those places. This would be a treatment that you would do one, not every single day. I typically do not use scrubs on the skin every day because I don't want to strip the natural barrier of the skin. It's okay to exfoliate with a low level chemical on a daily basis, such as like a lactic acid or a gentle low level salicylic for oily or acne skincare. But typically using scrubs can be harsh on the skin on a daily basis. So a lot of products out there that are mismarketed for it. So just to give you that heads up. So I'm going to remove this now. So it's your choice if you want to leave it on for several more minutes. It's totally okay to do that to get a deeper exfoliating effect. And then after this, I'm going to go right into a mask. And this is a very good example of how I would do my weekly routine. Okay, so now I'm going to utilize, so you can utilize your toner and a cotton pad to get some of the granulars that may have been missed off of the skin. So I'll use a little toner on my cotton pad and sweep away some of those excess particles that can still be left over. That happens quite a bit. If you find they're still there, blot your skin with a dry tissue, and that will act as a little magnet picking up the excess particles. It's like, oh my gosh, I've been using it and it's still there. Sweep away some of those excess little particles, dust it off like it's a little fan. Or if you have like a little clean powder brush, you can use that as like a duster to dust away those particles. Okay, so next I'm going to show you two masks. I've got the pink clay mask for milk and honey. I've also got the cosmetics detox mask. These are two different masks for two different areas. So this is an example of a way to spot treat, especially for combination skin. So I'm going to start with the T-zone with the detox mask. So I'm going to use just a small amount, and then I am going to use a brush to apply it. You can use your fingers. Not everybody has a mask brush at home, but this is a great way to get it to smooth on evenly. Now the detox mask from Cosmetics is a charcoal and a kaolin clay mask. Cosmetics is our cosmeceutical grade line. It's also a clean and safe cosmeceutical. So there's not harsh chemicals added. They do make lab-made ingredients. Everything's purified in the lab. And they use chirally correct ingredients using the correct side of the molecule, so that way it works effectively and safely at the cellular level. And they omit parabens, phthalates, sodium lauryl sulfates. They don't use any dyes or fragrances and don't animal test, most importantly. This is also combined with the kaolin and the charcoal. They're going to draw out the oil and the dirt. There's also dandelion extract that helps to protect the skin against pollution, a great antioxidant. And diatomaceous earth. It's ground up. It's very fine. Diatomaceous earth can exfoliate the skin. It softens the skin. My mom uses it to kill bugs in her house. Many different uses for diatomaceous earth. What you can do then is massage this into the skin, because you know that diatomaceous earth is actually crushed up in fine particles. Massage it in, exfoliate with it if you wish. If you've already exfoliated, you don't have to. You can just literally just leave it to sit, okay? So next, I'm going to apply the pink clay mask. Pink clay is from our milk and honey line. It has organic rose water, it reduces redness and acne. It also has pink French clay. So that's a gentle clay that will remove dead skin cells. And then also it has green tea leaf. It's an antioxidant. And helichrysum oil, known as immortelle oil, nourishing and soothing, and replaces lost moisture and aroma, really calming aromatherapeutic benefits as well. It's a beautiful mask. It's hydrating. It vitalizes the skin. I'm putting this kind of on my lower half of the face where I tend to have a little bit more dehydration. Also, there's other, like I was mentioning, oops, I didn't go over my nose. Didn't even go over my nose, but I did, that's okay. If the skin is really dehydrated and you really need something a little bit deeper moisture, use a deeper moisture mask or like a balm-like mask. One that I talked about last week was I talked about the Rescue Mask from Cosmetics. It's a deep moisturizing balm and mask with shea butter that you can sleep with it on overnight. There's also the Osya White Algae Mask. It's a beautiful multi-action mask too. That's a great one for sleeping on with overnight. It's a hyaluronic acid mask. I love this pink clay because it's vitalizing. It's a little stimulating, but not, overly stimulating. You just feel vitalized and fresh from it. I hope that's okay because I actually see myself in a tiny little screen. So we would leave this on from anywhere from, 10 to 15 minutes, leaving it on to take effect. You only leave it on for a few minutes. It doesn't have as much effect as it would if we were to leave it on for the affecting period. One of the things that you can do is leave this to sit so it gets nice and tight and dry. Once you sort of start to feel it completely dry, that's typically the best time to take it off. Another thing that you can do too with masks is to, like, the creamy masks or the balms that I was talking about, is you can utilize massage movements. Move it in circular motions, moving upwards and outwards and massaging and penetrating your nourishing, hydrating masks with your hands. Because that kind of massage, getting it to penetrate deeper into the skin, is going to be the best way to really help get it penetrated. It'll, of course, work on its own. It has a delivery system, but it'll go into the skin. But what you want to do is, if you're using, your hands, and the heat of your hands will push that product in. So I'm going to remove this mask because of time. I'm going to use the gel cleanser from Milk and Honey to take this off. Clays typically are really tight and dry. So the best thing to do is simply take it off by cleansing it off. I'm literally going to use the cleanser with some water to loosen up the mask. Detox Mask doesn't get as dry and tight as the pink clay does, but it still gets a little bit tight. So it's really good to try to cleanse it off first and get it to loosen up before you actually remove it. And that will make your life a lot easier. Okay, and I'm just gonna rinse this away. Yes, that makes life so much easier, using it, breaking it down with your cleanser so you can actually remove it much easier and thoroughly too. And you're going to want to remove the excess with your toner again, because that'll really help remove the excess and balances the skin's pH after the mask. So I'm going to go in again with my tone step, sweeping that across the skin. And I'm going to use the cotton pad technique because that really helps pick up a lot of the excess product. Now you might find too, with like the detox mask, you can spot treat with that. Thing with the Milk and Honey charcoal mask too. We also make one from Milk and Honey with tea tree and eucalyptus, green tea leaf, activated charcoal. That's a beautiful clay mask. I use that a lot after extraction work, any excess impurities, and reduce redness and calm the skin. That one plus this one that I just used today from Cosmetics is a great way to spot treat overnight on, stubborn blemishes and to really clear out any redness and inflammation caused by that blemish. So next I'm going to talk about serum, but what I'm going to do is show you our milk and honey oil. The Lux oil is fantastic. This is it really has a lot of beautiful ingredients such as evening primrose oil. That's a source of linoleic acid for dry, dehydrated, or irritated skin. Great for brightening hyperpigmented skin. It just brings a supple, softer feel and look to the skin. There's organic prickly pear that contains vitamin E. It has vitamin K I was mentioning earlier. Also more fatty acids. Also goji seed oil that really helps to smooth the look of wrinkles for improved appearance of skin texture. Also a good source of vitamin C and vitamin E. I'm going to take about 2 to 3 drops. I'm going to lightly massage this in. Also, if you use a water-based serum, say like a acid serum or an antioxidant serum, or a texture is more on the water-based side versus say like an oil or cream serum, you can actually put that on first and then apply your oil serum over the top. But I'm going to show you a great way to get this nice and penetrated and increase your blood flow and microcirculation, bringing more oxygen to the skin and firming, is facial rolling. The best way to use a facial roller is over an oil or a serum. I typically like oil serum because then it doesn't get tacky or dry out on me before I'm done using my roller. I'm going to start underneath the jawline towards the hairline. And then you can do this 5 times in a row in the same spot if you wish. And then moving from on top of the jawline towards the hairline, and in each upwards towards the hairline in each section. You can literally see the skin moving and firming and lifting. And then going to the eyebrow area. And then once I get to the forehead, I'm going to move up towards the hairline. These rollers are beautiful. They're made of natural stones, typically rose quartz, jade. Mine is an amethyst roller. And they're cool. They tighten and firm with the stone. Always move it and drag it towards the hairline so that way that you get propo. So the center of the working towards the hairline. And what you can also do then is bring and drag the rest of your fluids down to the clavicle bone where it is draining. And again, in each section, you can do that, 4 or 5 different times too. So that's how you use the facial roller. Feeling like I have a little mask still on my nose. I think I do. All right, there we go. Okay, so once you have your oil on, you can then put your moisturizer right over the top. Or you can actually mix your oil into your moisturizer. I like to boost my moisturizer with the oil sometimes versus layering, but you can do it either way or both. You can do it both for hydration. So what I'm going to use now is actually, I'm going to go from before the moisturizer, our Osya Eye and Lip Firming Cream. I'm actually not going to show you the packaging. It's the old packaging, but this contains red algae, deeply hydrates. It's great for youthful volume and firmness to the skin. There's amino acids or proteins that also provide firming and a smoothing effect. There's also macadamia seed oil, very lightweight, good for essential fatty acids for really nourishing and helping to increase barrier function. So I'm just using about a half a pea size, and I'm just going to tap and roll with just patting and pressing, moving inward from the inner corners to the outer corners. Also, I can put it on my lip line, which is great because of the firming benefits from the eye cream. I can also put it on top of my lips as well. This is a great way to, you can increase your lipstick pigment. It's high, pigmented lipstick. It's like you use it as a primer. Another thing, if I go back to the oil, the Lux oil, you can use it for your cuticles, elbows, knees, dry, spot treat with it in dry areas as well. I forgot to mention that because it is a multitasker. So now, after I've applied my eye serum, and I've got it on my lips too, I'm going to put on the Intense Hydration Cream. Beautiful moisturizer. It has baobab seed oil, mango butter, apple fruit stem cell extract, which is really great for tissue repair, but also really increasing health, firmer, anti-aging, reducing fine lines, and an antioxidant called, I don't know if I can pronounce it right, I'm going to really try to get it right, tocotrienol, an antioxidant powerhouse. It's 40 to 60 times more powerful than vitamin E. So it's really packed full of deep moisturizers, and it's in a unique, just pump it down and it'll come out just like so. It gives you just the right amount. I've already pumped some out, so I'm not going to do it again. But the best way to apply your moisturizer, again, moving in upward motions. And it's beautiful therapy in this one too. I love the smell of Intense Hydration Cream. And I always apply it by smoothing it in an even layer. And then again, pressing my product in with my hands to really get it to absorb beautifully into the skin and deeply. And you can massage, upwards using really nice long effleurage strokes. And remember to always move up and out. All right, and then don't forget your SPF, of course. So that's my demonstration. So Dree, if you want to let me know if we want to go and move on. But, those are just some basic tips that I have, and hopefully those made sense, and you guys can take some of those home with you and have fun using those products.
Yes, thank you, Jess. I'm going to hop in here with some of the questions that came in during that time. And again, if you have any other questions, feel free to privately message them to me.
I still have mask on my nose.
I mean, it's very relatable. I can just say, watching you do that, I'm going to mask after this. I was just like loving every step of the way. Okay, so jumping right into a few questions. The first one we got was just very simple. How often should you exfoliate?
How often should you exfoliate? It's a good question, because there are all different kind of exfoliators out there. And so I think the last time we were on this call, I mentioned there are cleansers that are have exfoliating properties in them, which are okay, as long as they are not harsh exfoliators. Again, when I was talking about scrubs typically, if you're using a cleanser twice a day and doing that every single day, that can be a little overkill. It can strip our barrier, and we need those essential lipids on the surface to protect. It's part of our barrier function. So what happens is that there's, a removal of that every time we use that scrub over the surface. So keeping scrubs to once or twice a week. Now, if you have a stronger chemical exfoliant, like it's in the form of an exfoliating mask, like a high percentage of, for example, high percentage glycolic acid exfoliator, or, considered to be like an at-home peel, that's something that you probably would only do once or twice a week as well. So those would be my guidelines as far as, depending on the type of exfoliator that you're using. When it's in an exfoliating mask form, once or twice a week. If it's in a cleanser form, as long as it's not a physical exfoliant, maybe it might have a small amount of a chemical exfoliant in there, or a natural ingredient that has a natural exfoliating property that's not gentle enough to use daily, then that is okay. Thicker, oilier skin tends to want more exfoliation. Drier skin can also want more exfoliation because the cellular renewal process slower on a drier skin. So in general, that's what I would recommend. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Okay, so next one, and this is something I wonder about all the time too. How soon after exercising is it important for you to wash your face?
Oh, that's a good one, because I always tell my guests, and one thing I'm asking clients that are, kind of breaking out, and it's hard to find the cause. You're not really finding it, and I say, how active are you? And, they say, oh, I'm really active. I work out all the time. And I say, well, you're cleansing right away after you work out. Not all the time. And then I'm like, well, try to make a point of that more, utilizing maybe a quick cleansing wipe that's helpful, because sometimes you're not always in front of a sink, especially if you're working out in a, somewhere where you can't get to, or maybe a facility that you work out and doesn't have a shower or a bathroom or sinks, you know, where it's convenient to wash your face. So those are really helpful to have, like a handy portable travel, you know, cleansing wipe. So definitely cleansing immediately after workout, because when we're sweating and perspiring, those impurities and toxins are sitting on the skin. And so that and I always say, I use the analogy of leaving, like when you cook and you leave oil or grease in a pan and it sits there overnight and it starts to get, or like bacon grease, right? And it gets white and it gets hard. And if you left it in there for a week, what happens? It oxidizes and it turns brown or black. And that's where you get your blackheads from. And that's that kind of analogy. So imagine as your body cools off and that oil and that sweat is sitting there, it's getting hardened, it's getting oxidized, and it's embedding itself into your pores and into your follicles, creating, basically it's creating a film of bacteria. So it's really important to cleanse right away.
Definitely. I'm someone who has struggled with breaking out on my chest, and that's like the number one thing that an esthetician told me was like, bring wipes with you whenever you go to a workout. And it definitely really helped me. So, okay. So one question, what are some of the at-home ways to treat spots and minimize long-term scarring that I've unfortunately picked out when I've been feeling stressed?
Okay. So then we're talking about like, acne scars on the facial area after picking.
Yeah, well, I think they're talking about like stress breakouts and potential scarring or preventing scarring.
Yeah. Well, the first thing is, yes, it's not to pick, but you know, once you've picked, that's the thing. It starts to turn into an inflammation response occurs, and that's where you get that post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. And so, you know, the best thing that you can do is to utilize pigment inhibitors and brighteners and exfoliators to help increase that renewal process and also help to lighten and brighten. You know, it's great to attack the inflammation first, because inflammation is what's causing that darkening tint. That's that inflammation response is causing that hyperpigmentation. So when we can attack that inflammation with something that soothes and calms and reduces that, and then we can incorporate also some lightening properties that help to spot treat, that would be typically, I think, the best thing to do, along with combining exfoliation and chemical exfoliation. And it doesn't have to be aggressive because there's inflammation, you know, so we want to be gentle with treating and not over aggressive, because we don't want to aggravate what's happening. We don't want to aggravate the inflammation. So a part of the lightening and brightening is also soothing and calming and reducing inflammation in the skin. So there are definitely spot treatments that you can utilize. One of the ones in the cosmetics line that I really like to recommend is Simply Brilliant. And the reason is because it multitasks. It multitasks with salicylic acid, with lactic acid, and also 10 specific plant pigment inhibitor lighteners. So what you're doing is you're getting a spot treatment that is going to attack inflammation, because salicylic acid is an antibacterial. It's also an anti-inflammatory. You have your lactic acid, which is an alpha hydroxy that lightens and brightens and increases your renewal through the exfoliation. And then your pigment inhibitors that are naturally based, that come from the plants. And this is a serum that you can use 24/7. You know, it's one that you can use all year round, actually. And you can apply it in spots twice a day. So it's really a gentle way to lighten and brighten and attack all of the things that are associated with that scarring.
I love that.
Yeah.
Cool. So next one, there were actually two questions that kind of feel like a good like two-parter question.
Okay.
So two different requests for mask recommendations. The first one is a mask recommendation for reducing large pores, and the second one is a mask recommendation for redness and rosacea.
Okay. So, you know, one of the things that so reducing large pores. So large pores are very, it's one of those things where, you know, the pore structure is its size because of our skin type, right? So if we have oily skin, we've got enlarged pores because there's overactive sebaceous activity happening there, typically. It also can be caused by, so one of the things it's caused by is oil. And another thing that it's caused by is aging or sun damage even. So depending on, kind of what is the cause of the large pore, we can treat it depending on what it is, where it's coming from. So of course, if it's oily skin, the mask that I would recommend is the masks that I was talking about earlier, like your charcoals, your clays. Those are really the ones that are drawing out the impurities. They're going to help to deep cleanse, and also regular exfoliation, because we want to help to dislodge the debris that's causing the clogged pores. That's, that's kind of building up in that follicle. So with that said, and also regular facial treatments, because our treatments are actually, we're doing the work to declog and decongest your skin, either manually or mechanically. And with that regular consistency of that type of care for your skin, we can minimize pore structure because you're consistently doing a treatment to really remove the impurities. But at home, you can do your homework in between the facials. I've seen better results on reduction of pores with the home care consistency of that, reducing the oil with the right type of products that help with reducing oil. And that would be like a cleanser that helps to absorb and mop up excess oil, or like your charcoal or your clay masks. Doing that once or twice a week will help to absorb the excess impurities. And then also exfoliation is the refinement part of smoothing and softening the appearance of the large pore. Then in your facials, we're cleaning them out, right? We're getting that debris out for you, because it's really hard to do your own extractions at home and not always the safest to do. So when we can clear out that debris, then we can really maintain cleaner pores. Also, then if it's the loss of elasticity because of sun damage or from aging, then we need collagen boosting, tightening, firming ingredients such as peptides, proteins, amino acids. Those kind of ingredients are going to build the collagen, increase and phytoestrogens too. Those increase your collagen stimulation and increase the rate of how much collagen we produce. So those are the things that will address that kind of aging skin because of environmental stress or lack of elasticity and slackening, that widens the pore. So we want to tighten and firm it with something that's anti-aging.
Great. So then the second part of that was, do we have any mask recommendations for redness or rosacea?
Redness or rosacea. Yeah. I mean, the rescue mask that that I talked about last week, that's got really good calming and soothing properties. Although if there's a lot of heat associated with that rosacea, probably not the best product, as it occludes and it creates a barrier. But if it's more for dry rosacea, yes. And it's not inflamed and heated up, because sometimes that can be a trigger. Another one that we have that can be very good is actually, and I don't know if it's on our website, but Cosmetics makes a product called Relief. And it's a soothing serum. It's from the Elite line. And it's a soothing relief gel. It's almost like a medical calming anti-reddening treatment. Another one that you can kind of utilize as a mask, it's not really a mask for rosacea and redness, is the Ocean Cleansing Milk. It's really like in the treatment room, it's our 911 product for reducing redness and calming. We even mix the cleansing milk into masks. You can do that at home. Oh. So you can take like a hydrating, or, because rosacea can be associated with oil. It can be papular. It can be dry rosacea. It can be vascular. So it kind of really depends. What kind of rosacea, what subtype is it? The most common are typically like the acne or the papular, or the vascular, like where there's lots of blood vessels that are dilated. But so depending on skin type, dry, oily, using the correct product, you can kind of use and cocktail different things, like that Relief Soothing Gel from the Cosmetics Elite line, the Ocean Cleansing Milk. That can be something you can actually blend and add to your masks. And we do have like CPR treatment. That's another one from Cosmetics. It's a spot treatment. I wouldn't say that we have anything specific for like mask for rosacea, unless I'm just not thinking of what it is. But I think those are kind of like my best recommendations for actual specifically treating, those kind of symptoms. So those would be my best recommendations from what we have.
I love that. I mean, the tip that you did in your tutorial earlier, and you just mentioned here about mixing in a cleanser with masks, like I just had never thought of that. Like, I feel like every time we do this, I have another aha moment where I'm just like,
that's great.
This. So I love that.
Good.
Moving on to another question. So someone's asked, I'm a teenager with hormonal skin. Can I still use this routine with my topical cream? And I think they're referring to the routine that you did for the tutorial.
So she's, sounds like she's using a topical medicated treatment.
I think so.
Yeah. You can, it depends on what it really is, I think it's okay to utilize what I use because these are not intense treatments. Although some of the things I use, like the intense hydrating cream, might not be the appropriate moisturizer for her skin type if she's younger, maybe has more oilier skin.
Mm-hmm.
I might recommend a lighter oil-free moisturizer, but she could probably definitely utilize the Enzyme Mask. That has honey in it, actually, the honey enzyme mask, which honey is nature's antibacterial. It's an anti-inflammatory, and it's a gentle enzyme. And those alpha hydroxy acids can be beneficial. As long as she's not sensitized or irritated from her topical treatment, she would be okay. And especially like the ocean cleansing mud, that would be a great cleanser for her because it's reducing bacteria and oil on the skin. And again, as long as there's no irritation or sensitivity from the treatment. Usually the topical treatments are pretty balancing, so I think she'd be okay. And definitely the charcoal masks can be something she can utilize as, her weekly treatment. Yeah, I think these would be totally fine. Just the one thing I might alter is the oil, the Lux oil, and the intense hydrating cream might not be the perfect treatments for her skin type as far as the oil is concerned.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So moving on, I think we kind of talked about this last week briefly, but someone asked, would you recommend wearing sunscreen inside during these days of quarantine?
Oh, yeah, that is a good question because it's kind of like, well, I'm used to doing it every day, right? It's part of my routine. Before I leave the house, I cleanse, I moisturize, I put my sun protection on, and then I run out the door. But I'm not running out the door as much anymore. So that's a great question. And I think, it's good to get outside. Please do, and when you do, yes, put your sunscreen on for sure. But if you're sitting in the house and you're not planning to leave, I mean, there really is no point in putting on your SPF unless you are going to be affected by UV. Now, you might be, maybe it depends on your house too. If you live in a glass house and all of your house is windows and there's UV coming through, which it can penetrate through glass, the UVA rays, which are our aging, most dangerous rays that cause aging and cancer, can penetrate through the glass. So if you plan on not being in front of any UV, no. But if, again, depending on how you live and where your house is, if there's a lot of sunlight coming in, I would still wear it.
Mm-hmm.
They're sneaky. They are very sneaky.
It is very sneaky. I feel like I've always heard stories about people like getting a sunburn through their car window when they're driving and just being like, where did I get this? And then they realize, oh, that's where the sun hits me when I'm driving my car. So
yeah, we see a lot of hyperpigmentation on the left side of the face on guests because of driving. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's Austin traffic for you too. But so moving on, if a moisturizer is water-based and a serum is oil-based, don't oil and water not mix. So would it be better to put one on first and then the other to lock it in? And if so, which one do you apply first?
Always water before oil. So that's a great question. Because it's true, because the oils have a heavier, larger molecule. So if you try to put a smaller molecule on top of a larger one, it can't really go through it. So anything that's water-based, I try to apply first and oils on top. So that's when I was mentioning about the two different serums. Like if you use this oil serum, but you have another serum that you're using that's water-based, apply that one first. And then the oil would always go on the top. Also, the oils have a heavy molecular weight, so they're going to help draw things in deeper. So that's why they usually will typically go on last. So yes, if you're going to be layering and you're going to be layering water-based with oil-based products, think about it how water should go on first, and then your oils go on to sort of create like a seal, pushing everything down, getting it to penetrate deeper. It'll help draw things in. That's why I like to mix it with my moisturizer if I am using an oil. But yeah, that's a really good point to make because it can get confusing sometimes because sometimes we have more than one serum or moisturizers, whatever, maybe, as far as layering, it's usually serum, the moisturizer. But yeah, if we have one that's water-based, one that's oil, which order does it go in? That's a great question. Always water before the oil.
I love that. That's such a good pro tip. And again, something I hadn't thought about. So we only have a couple more questions. So
Okay.
the next one is, what can someone use after getting off of Accutane?
So that's a good question too, because typically it's supposed to clear up the condition, and hopefully it does. Hopefully it does work. And typically most people find great results after using Accutane. But Accutane can be very harsh too. The skin sometimes gets sensitive. Usually it's typically sensitivity that's caused by the medication.
Mhm.
So I would just get a simple but gentle routine and thorough, doing the thorough steps, but you don't have to be aggressive because again, the skin's probably somewhat sensitized. And it might be a little bit drier even too, so you might want to be using things that are hydrating, because when the skin dehydrates, it gets sensitized. So the point of that medication is to slow down the oil production. So you're probably going to notice that since it's so aggressive with that effect, that the skin could feel dry and dehydrated, and it's sensitized because of that. Even when someone's not taking a medication or using something topically that does that, if your skin's in a dehydrated state, you're going to be sensitized. It's going to be more, it's more permeable and prone to irritation. So it's going to react differently because of that sensitivity. You're going to get inflamed easier, reactive more easy. So I would just use hydrating, gentle products, but really keep the skin hydrated. Depending on how much oil your skin is producing, depends on what kind of moisturizer as far as its thickness and richness that you're going to use. So that's typically just a good, thorough skincare regime. Yeah.
Cool.
So,
I love that. All right. Our final question. What exfoliator would you recommend? And then this person said, I have a SkinCeuticals micro exfoliator, but I find that it makes my skin super dry. Is there a milder exfoliator that you would recommend?
yes. And then careful how long, it depends on how much you're using it too. And you're probably not using it every day if it's making you drier. So that's good, use it very minimal. And then what I would do is, if you're getting dry from it, you might want to think about using chemical exfoliation versus that physical microfoliant, and use like the Enzyme Mask. This is so hydrating, and you get such great exfoliating benefits because of the AHAs in it and the enzyme. It's really an alpha beta hydroxy. So it's like you get the alpha hydroxys for the mandelic and the glycolic, and your enzyme is like the beta. So it's the enzyme's like little Pac-Man. It's chomping away at the little dead skin cells on the surface like a scrub would do, right? And then your alpha hydroxys are going down. They're penetrating because the size of their molecular structure is small enough to make it through the surface of the skin. And so it's exfoliating from within. And so you get this all over, I call it like a 360 exfoliation. So that way you're getting the surface exfoliation and the refinement from the enzymes, and then also hydrating as well. And also, well, and these alpha hydroxys like glycolic is actually water soluble. It binds water molecules to your skin. It's a non-drying way of exfoliating. It's great. So switch from something physical to something a little more on the chemical side that has hydrating properties.
I love that. And I'm obsessed with the Enzyme Mask. I think that's such a great recommendation. I know we call it the facial in a jar. Whenever I use it at home, I feel like I'm just so glowy afterward. So,
and I use it on all skin types in the treatment room, and I have not had a problem with using it yet. And it makes everybody hydrated and glowy. And it's great. It's a gel, so it doesn't make you oily, but it also doesn't dehydrate you or dry or strip your skin either.
Great. Okay. Well, that's our final question. So thank you again to everyone who joined us. And just so everyone knows, I know I was kind of sending those links along. All of those links do directly support Jess. We are going to send a follow-up email too with all of those links, and a link to just her picks page that kind of outlines everything that Jess loves on the site. So thank you guys again. We're also going to follow up with requests for feedback. So if you do have any feedback, please feel free to either respond to that or just email us at marketing@milkandhoney.com. We would love to hear any of your thoughts. We want to keep doing these, and thank you again for joining us.
Thank you so much. This was so fun. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.